and you kept warm. Tonight we will be talking about how to tap into the untapped market. So I welcome you all tonight. Grab yourself a hot drink, some paper to write on, or an iPad to take notes. And let's get started. Maybe a hot drink or something as well. Let's get started. So first off, I will do an acknowledgement of country and talk about the Two Wise Monkeys funding. 30 Foot Drop acknowledges the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognises their continuing connection to land, waters and the community. We pay our respects to the Indigenous people, to their cultures and beliefs, and to the elders both past and present. 30 Foot Drop funding. 30 Foot Drop would like to acknowledge the Department of Communities, Disability Services for funding this and many other initiatives. Without their support, so many projects such as Two Wise Monkeys wouldn't see the light of day, and we'd be much more poorer for it as a community. So we are very grateful for that funding. This workshop is a part of our realities and advantages of an Access and Inclusion grant awarded to 30 Foot Drop as part of a Linkages, Information and Capacity Building grant for 2018 and 2019. Housekeeping. Just go over how we run the workshops so that you can better understand how to communicate with us. So unfortunately we do not have all the live resources to stream every platform live. So what that means is if you do have a question for us, you can ask that question through going to the 30 Foot Drop link, which is just below this video, www.30footdrop.com.au/live. Go into there, go into the menu, hit the live box, and then you will be able to send us a message. So if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you won't be able to send me a live message. So head over to that website if you did want to do so. We'll be covering a lot of information in a short period of time, so we ask attendees if they can try and minimise any distractions. And that includes me. I'm at home and my kids may interrupt us, so bear with me. And, you know, it's hard to stop these distractions quite at the moment. Okay, so make sure as well that if you talk about 30 Foot Drop that you tag us in anything that you share. We'd love to get involved, and the more people we can reach, the more the message can get out there and we can change things. Also, if you know anyone that may benefit from these webinars, please let them know that there are 6 parts all about different things and to get them to come along, because it's very educational, especially if you're a business or service owner. We record all of the sessions, so if you did need to go back and re-watch anything, it will all be recorded for you to go back and watch it. And all of the research that we speak about is also all available on the website, the 30 Foot Drop website. So if you wanted to look deeper into the research and the stats that I talk about, then you can head over there and look under resources and you will find all the information. At the end of the webinar, we do have a quick survey that we would be really grateful for you guys to fill out for us. So you need to go into the live button again and press survey 4. Right, okay, let me introduce myself. I am Lisa and I am one of the Two Wise Monkeys. I am Hear No Evil. So, just by looking at me, I hope that you will hear no evil about impairment. When I was 8, I was diagnosed with mild dyslexia. Teachers used to hit me on the head, read out my low marks, and yell at me in front of my classmates, making me feel completely dumb and unworthy as it would of an 8-year-old child. But despite these challenges growing up, I was determined to prove these teachers wrong and prove that I wasn't dumb and unworthy. And I found my passion in art when I was about 13. I was drawing in the class and realised that, oh, I actually am okay drawing. The teacher held up my work and said, this is how it should be done. This is an amazing still life. I did throughout school, and I went on to get an arts diploma and also a fine arts museum grade certificate to be able to work with fine art and photography in the galleries. So, and I also have a picture framing certificate, so I can do all of that kind of stuff. So, you know, it doesn't matter that you're not an amazing mathematician or an amazing speller to succeed at life. So if you do know someone that has a learning disability or dyslexia, don't let it stop them from being who they want to be, and don't let it stop them from finding that passion within themselves, because I believe that everyone has something that they're going to be good at. It's just a matter of finding it. And don't give up. It doesn't matter if you're not the most amazing speller, the most amazing mathematician or reader. There are other things that you'll be good at. You might be good with your hands. You might be creative. There could be many, many other things that you can do in your life. So don't give up. Okay, so the other monkey is Ben, and he is see no evil. His disability is more of an obvious one, and he is the reason why we are here today running these workshops. Through his accident, which put him in a wheelchair, he realised that no one really knows. People aren't being taught how to interact with someone with a disability or impairment. And because he was an able-bodied before his accident, he knew the difference, and it was so obvious to him. He thought he needed to make these changes, and that's why we're here today. So he's doing amazing things for the community. Now, when we look at monkeys, there's see no evil, hear no evil, and speak no evil. But who is speak no evil? You guys. So the aim of tonight's workshop is to turn you into a wise monkey. Speak no evil. You'll begin on a journey of realising, impairment or not, that we're all human and deserve to be treated in the same way as everyone else. We deserve to be treated with respect and equality. So, you guys, it's up to you guys to help us make these changes. And if you really did want to become that third wise monkey, as you can see behind me, we have some gorgeous t-shirts that are now available on our website. You can get them in black and white. I've got my white one on, white and black one on, black and white, and they start from size 5 child size to 5XL adult size. So grab one of those if you'd like. Okay, now we will go over the outline and method of tonight's workshop. So how are we going to get you started on the path of the wise monkey? Well, there's a lot to learn about people with impairment and how you can increase your business by attracting them. We'll be looking at 3 areas of need that most businesses can use to improve and use to tap into this untapped market. These are accessibility, universal design, and diverse marketing. After covering all the good stuff, we then have an open forum where people can ask questions and I can talk about those questions. So how are we going to cover this? What will our teaching method be? The answer is fun, open, and honest discussion. If we can't be open and honest about disability and impairment, then we're not going to be able to change anything. So if you've got something that you feel like you need to say within the community, anything like that to do with disability and impairment, we need to speak up together, because changes aren't going to happen if we don't speak up. And Ben spoke up, and this is why we're here today, hopefully making many, many changes. You'll notice as well that there's very little written content on the slides. It is so that it's easy for you to interact and easy to follow. Also, it's easy for people that may have a disability or impairment to also follow. It's not complex, there's not too much wording where you're trying to keep up with everything. It's nice and easy for every human being. And if you did have a hearing impairment and you want to have subtitles, if you head over to the platform Facebook and jump into the 30-foot drop page, you can watch this video and receive subtitles. You just need to turn the sound down on your computer, iPhone or laptop, and you'll be able to get the subtitles. So now I'm going to go over some words that people often get confused or think that they are the same thing. First up is the difference between disability and impairment. First up, impairment is an injury, illness, or congenital condition that causes or is likely to cause a loss or difference of psychological and physiological function. In short, your impairment is your medical diagnosis. So my medical diagnosis is mild dyslexia. A disability, on the other hand, is the loss or limitation to take part in loss or limitation of opportunities to take part in society on an equal level to others due to social and environmental barriers. It is, as the word implies, something that makes you unable to access or participate in something. Now, an example for someone with a learning disability or dyslexia: too much wording, complex information, or stylized script can make it really hard for these people to understand, which means that they're not getting the right information that they need to use your business or service. This is especially important to remember because some people's impairments are hidden. So potentially, you have lost a lot of business if your service isn't being inclusive and is making it hard for people with hidden disabilities. So have a look at your website, have a look at your marketing, make sure it's not complex and confusing. It needs to be simple and easy to follow, and that will suit everyone. So I'm hoping that that's making sense so far. The last two we look at are access and inclusion. Access refers to the removal or reduction of barriers, physical and attitudinal, to participate in activities and functions of a community. At its core, access focuses a lot on the physical world around us and can be assessed with a checklist. And if you wanted to go through a checklist, we have one of these on our website, 30 Foot Drop website, where you can go around your business and check the door frames are wide enough for someone in a wheelchair, the door handles, and there's lots of other things that you can look at just to make sure that, yes, your business is accessible. Now, the last one is inclusion. Inclusion is more of a psychological state of being and is the process hereby every person, irrespective of their age, sexuality, nationality, religion or gender, who wishes to, can participate fully in every activity and service the same way as everyone else. It's making sure that every single person is included into your business. It doesn't matter what we look like, how we come across. We want to feel that we are included and we are welcome to come into your cafe. Someone in a wheelchair wants to feel like they are welcome into your cafe. And if you're not making people feel included, then they're not going to come in. So I hope that once again makes sense. If you have any questions, please head over to the link below and press live and type away. Now, let's start with tonight's information. How to tap into the market and increase your accessibility. As mentioned in the overview, there are 3 strategies that businesses can use to tap into this market, and these are accessibility, universal design, and marketing. They can be used individually, but are best used concurrently. Let's go over these. Accessibility. What do you think of when you hear the word accessibility? You think of wheelchair ramps, you think of aqua bays, and you think of accessible toilets. These are really good examples, but there is so much more than just physical. There are so many other ways businesses can be more accessible, and let's have a look at what these things are and what you can do to make these changes for your customers. Okay, information. Make sure your information is accessible. It's important not to make assumptions on how people receive or communicate information. The best approach is to make important information available to consumers in a variety of formats, which include speaking directly to someone on the phone, very important. And in the case of someone that is deaf, using the TTY service, the Telephone Typewriter National Relay Service. This is when a person types a message to an operator and that message is then conveyed to the person that the message is for. And a reply is sent back to the person with the impairment in the same method. You can also have a hard written content which is available as well in a very large format, for example size 18 format for people that have vision impairments. If you have a menu at your cafe, maybe you could think about printing some menus off that are in a larger format for people that have a vision impairment. And how amazing would they feel if you had someone come into your cafe and you could clearly see they had a vision impairment and you were able to offer them a menu that had larger font. You'd feel amazing being given that. Right, what's next? Electronic formats, including by email, websites and online chat services. You could also think about offering those on a USB, save information to the USB for people to have a look at, go through, and make an audio recording. So these things are all there to boost your business and have other ways of communicating with people with disability and impairment wanting to use your business. They're not just it's not easy for them to get all the right information a normal way that everyone else uses. They may need other things to help them. Businesses could also consider installing an audio loop system in public shop fronts or offices to assist people with hearing aids, or provide an Auslan interpreter or braille on request. So a lot of people that have hearing aids nowadays, they're Bluetooth, so it can just automatically tune into your audio loop if you have one. And I think they have them at the movies now, which is amazing. Okay. We'll now go over the tips for maintaining an accessible premises. An accessible designed premises is great, but if it's not maintained, it can be disastrous and in some cases dangerous. Here are some issues to be aware of. Do not lock accessible bathrooms or lifts while they're in use by members of the public. Ensure accessible bathrooms can be reached by a continuous path of travel. If you do not make sure your business is an inclusive practice, then people with a disability or impairment may feel unwanted within your business, especially if the toilets are locked. If someone in a wheelchair goes to use the toilet at your cafe and it's locked, well, what's that saying? It's not saying that they're very welcome, is it? So, things to think about. Do not use accessible bathrooms again as change or storage rooms. So, there's nothing worse for someone with a disability that goes to use the toilet. Okay, it's unlocked, but it's full of stuff. It's full of crap. And they can't actually get off their wheelchair to go to the toilet, or, they can't move around. So, things to think about. Avoid constructing temporary displays or stacking goods in a manner that will obstruct a shop aisle. Make sure that there is a continuous accessible path in and around your business or shop. Make sure that counter heights, lift buttons and EFTPOS facilities, door handles for example, are within a reach for a person in a wheelchair or someone that has short stature. There's nothing worse than going to a shop and buying something and you can't reach the EFTPOS buttons. How horrible would that be? What do they even do there? I don't know. Okay, ensure that buttons have raised tactile or braille information next to them so that lifts can provide, and also that lifts provide audible information telling the the passengers whether they have arrived at the whether they have arrived at their right number story on the lift floor. Okay, maintain adequate lighting levels throughout the premises. Provide clear and easy to read signage for people with impairment accessing or using your premises. Do not allow surfaces to become slippery or dangerously worn. Provide designated parking spaces for people with disabilities and maintain the continuous accessible path of travel from the parking space to the premises. So a lot of information there, but it's all going to make a change. Right, let's go into transport. If your business provides transport options, then please be aware of the following. Ensure information relevant to passengers with an impairment is provided on the Transport Services website. Such information may include specific booking processes, requirements for passengers with an impairment, location of accessible bus and train stops, timing of accessible services, and access features. Make sure booking forms and mobile apps are accessible to people with an impairment. Provide training to frontline staff on the delivery of accessible transport to passengers with an impairment. Take steps to inform booking agents, travel agents, tour guides of the relevant considerations that they need to take for someone with a disability or impairment. For example, their fitness to travel, impairment equipment that is needed, and restrictions and the access features. This all needs to be made available on your websites, on your marketing, so that people with disability and impairment know straight away that they can come in and use your business. If it's not there, they're probably going to go and look elsewhere. Okay, mobility devices. Under the Disabilities Discrimination Act, it may be against the law for an owner or manager of a shop, restaurant, club, or other venue to refuse entry to someone in a wheelchair or who uses a mobility scooter as their form of for their disability, as an impairment aid, should I say, if they are using it as an impairment aid. It may also be against the law to restrict access of the person to only parts of the premises. Fair enough too. You wouldn't want to go to a restaurant and just be told that you have to sit there and you can't sit in front of the water or whatever you want, wherever you want to sit. An example of this is small shops who restrict the mobility due to large amounts of stock is illegal. And I remember when I had my son and I went into a shop with him in the pram, and he was only little, and I wasn't allowed in the shop because there wasn't room to take my pram in. So yeah, haven't gone back to that shop. Okay, businesses should consider the needs of consumers who use scooters and wheelchairs as a mobility aid, and when shops have too much stock on the floors, definitely something to think about. The general tips for maintaining an accessible premises mentioned in the earlier section of this resource also apply to people who use mobility devices. And if customers can't get in the door, are they likely to spend? No, I certainly didn't with my pram. Assistance animals. Be aware that a guide dog is only one form of an assistance animal. There are other assistance animals, such as those who assist people with hearing disabilities and medical conditions. Ben's told me there are birds, cats. He's hoping one day there'll be a snake. Let's hope not. If you are unsure if an animal is an assistance animal, the law says it's okay to ask the person with the impairment or disability to provide that certificate to say that the animal has been trained to meet the standards of hygiene and behaviour to be in a public place. If you are unsure whether the assistance animal is an assistance animal, ask the person directly before asking them to leave or to leave their animal outside. Provide frontline staff with information or training about assistance animals. Okay, increasing your accessibility of online content. The internet is by far the favoured way for consumers to get the information about goods and services that they need. This research is often done prior to the customer physically visiting the shop or storefront. So making your information accessible on your websites will encourage more customers. So on your website, on your main menu, have an accessibility thing right there so that people with disability and impairment know straight away that your business has got the things that they need so that they can come into your shop. The following are guidelines to keep in mind when designing your online content. Material that is presented only in image-based formats such as GIF or TIFF will not be accessible to some people with impairments, as screen readers can't read these. Use plain fonts that are easy to read. Avoid fonts that are too complex or stylized and also too decorative. Make sure that there is enough contrast between foreground text and background colours, and that the text is easy to read. Do not provide content that is only available in PDF format, as screen readers generally can't read these. If you do include PDFs, provide the same information in Word or HTML format. Make sure you include text descriptions for all non-text content, including images and graphs, for example, using the ATL text function. Avoid scanned pictures. Lost where I was there. Avoid scanned pictures of a text, photo of a menu, and text boxes. Screen readers cannot read these either. Provide captions or transcripts for multimedia, or provide audio and video for multimedia. Do not set audio or video content to play automatically, because once again this interferes with screen readers, and it's very annoying when you scroll past a video and it automatically plays and you can't keep up. You've got to rewind it to get back to the beginning. We don't like that. Do not set if you use capture, then make sure that there are alternatives available. Make sure that all the content on your website can be navigated by keys and not only by a mouse, because some people can't use a mouse. Make technical support available for consumers who need assistance using your website via an online chat session, phone or email. Test the accessibility of your website, and if you have problems, speak to an accessibility professional. All this helps to meet the needs of the customers coming into your business with a disability or impairment. Right, just wait there a minute. I need to go and see what my children are doing. I won't be a minute. Sorry about that. My daughter dropped some of her pudding on the floor. I thought it was a lot worse, but yeah. Children, now planning events. Let's go to the next part. We'll be covering accessible tourism and events, looking at opportunities in greater detail in tomorrow and next Tuesday, 5 and 6 parts. These tips are looking specifically at the physical event. When planning events, including meetings, festivals, conferences, lectures, and fundraisers, you need to take all the reasonable steps to ensure that the event is accessible, so that people with impairment can attend the event and participate. Sections of this workshop, in addition to the following. Explain the accessibility of the venue on the invitation or the registration form, and request attendees inform you of any accessibility requirements that they might have. An example of what to include are an access process or a map for people with an impairment or a disability. Explain the accessibility of wheelchairs. Make sure a handout material is available at the event and is also available on electronic format when requested. Additionally, the following considerations should also be considered when using a venue. Make sure that there is sufficient, clear, simple and visible signage to direct people where to go. Ensure the venue is large enough and set out in such a way that people with an impairment, including people using a mobility device or a wheelchair, can freely move around when the venue is full. When setting up seating and arrangement allocations, allow people with an impairment a choice of seating, including options with a clear view of the stage and speakers. This is particularly important for people who are deaf or have a hearing impairment. Ensure that presenters are aware when they are using PowerPoint slides or videos in their presentations. They may also need to provide the same information in a format which is accessible for people who have a vision or hearing impairment. Example of this, speakers could provide an oral description of PowerPoint slides, provide a hard copy, electronic or audio copies of the material ahead of the event, and use captioning or Auslan interpreters during a presentation. Brief venue and registration staff about the responsibilities to avoid discriminating against people with disability or impairments, and about any issues such as allowing people to use assistance animals. Brief staff of location of accessible toilets, accessible features, and have handouts in accessible formats. This information could be provided to staff in the event in writing or a briefing session. There should be a staff member also appointed for the responsibility of addressing any accessibility issues that they may have on the day of the event. Make sure that all the staff working in the event know who that person is. I mean, nothing worse than going to a concert that you've been looking forward to, you've rung up about the accessibility things that you might need, and then you get there and no one knows anything about it. And the issue is not sorted for a couple of hours and you've missed half of the event. Awful for someone with a disability or impairment and very stressful. Okay, universal design. Let's talk about universal design. So, all of the tips to increase accessibility are great, but what is even better than a solution is if the problem didn't exist at all. Universal design is a great way to make your organisation amazingly accessible and is cheaper, faster and visually more appealing than fixing it later. Universal design is a composition of an environment. Universal design is the design and composition of an environment so that it can be accessed, understood and used to the greatest extent possible by all people regardless of their age, size and ability. In short, it is when society designs with every single person in mind. Staff at all levels should contribute to universal design, from small changes on a single product or to services designing a holistic experience for every customer. Business case for universal design. When done right, universal design is more than just catering for customers with impairments. It can have the following business benefits: increased market research and enhanced customer satisfaction. Increased market research is a universally designed product that will be usable, accessible, and appealing to a wider customer base. Enhanced customer satisfaction and retention. A satisfied customer will tell other people about the product, service, or environment, increasing and potentially creating new customers for your business. Market crossover success. Products that are aimed at specific target groups can sometimes generate interest and demand in unforeseen other markets, such as the OXO grips. Has anyone heard of those? They are kitchen products designed for people with limited mobility in their hand or with arthritis. So someone has designed this, and this kind of out-the-box thinking can create widespread demand for other products. Positive public image. A business that positively contributes to society by incorporating universal design, the universal design approach, is likely to receive a reputation for having a high level of corporate social responsibility. Increased consumer expectations. In recent decades, the voice of the general public has become more prominent and more influential. Universal design enables companies to design products, service, and environments that are closely matched to the consumer's expectations and needs. Except at first use. A consumer forms an opinion about a product at the first use, or even at first sight. A recent study suggested that the internet users take less than 50 milliseconds, that's 1/20th of a second, to judge the visual appearance of a website. Very important, make sure your website is spot on. If the first impression is negative, a consumer is not likely to proceed with the order. If a product is simple, clear, and easy to access and easy to use, a consumer will be more likely to proceed with the transaction. Next, achieving universal design. The most efficient way to achieve universal design is collaborating with employees that have an impairment. They can guide the process with their experience. Here are 7 principal topics to note when striving for great universal design. They are equitable use, flexibility in use, simple and intuitive use, perceptible information, tolerance for error, low physical effort, and size and space for approach and use. Now let's go over these briefly. Equitable use. The design should be useful and marketable to people with diverse disabilities or impairments. Guidelines are: provide the same means of use for all users, identical where possible, and equivalent when not. So an example of this would be ramps instead of stairs. Way easier for everyone. So ramps instead of stairs is identical. And ramps and stairs are equivalent. Avoid segregating or stigmatizing any users, like having a wheelchair access through the kitchen of your restaurant. Not cool. So degrading. Provisions for privacy, security, and safety should be equal for every single user. Make the design appealing to all users, lastly. So, next is flexibility in use. The design accommodates a whole wide range of individual preferences and abilities. An example: the use of flashing lights with sirens or beeping sounds give warnings in emergency situations. This way people can people with reduced hearing or sight can know what to do, which could save lives. Guidelines for this are: provide choice and methods of use, accommodate right and left-handed access and use, facilitate the user's accuracy and precision, and provide adaptability to the user's pace. So when you've got your business, you need to make sure that you have an alarm that's obviously sounding, but you also have an alarm that is going to be useful for someone that's deaf or someone that's blind. You need to cover all the bases so that everyone is kept safe. And if you're in the workplace and there's someone with a mobility issue and you need to get them out of that emergency situation, then you need to think about adapting to their pace instead of trying to make them run or go any faster than they can. Next is simple and intuitive use. The use of design is make sure the use of design is easy to understand regardless of the user's experience, knowledge, language skills, or current concentration level. The universal design of the male and female symbols on the bathroom doors are easy to understand. That's stylized script, and every human pretty much knows what that means. Women's, men's, very simple. Guidelines for these are: eliminate unnecessary complexity. So if you'd had complex, maybe beautiful writing up there, but it wasn't really making much sense, then people are going to get mixed up, which is the female and male. But with this kind of thing, easy. Be consistent with the user's expectations and intuition. Accommodate a wide range of literacy and language skills. Arrange information consistent with the importance. Provide effective prompting and feedback during and after task completion. So within your business, offer the customers a feedback form just to make sure that yes, you have got the accessibility good and they did feel inclusive. It's good to know how you're going with it anyway. Next is perceptible information. The design communicates necessary information effectively to the user, regardless of the ambient conditions or the user's sensory abilities. Example, raised tactile indicators. This is what these are on the picture. Not only warn people with vision impairments, but also alert people of an up-and-coming hazard. And who here didn't know what these were for? Me. I thought they were an art decorative type thing, but no, in actual fact, they are a warning for someone with a vision impairment, which is amazing. Now you're going to look all around the street and notice these little tactiles warning everybody with vision impairments. Okay, the guidelines for this are: use different modes, pictorial, verbal, and tactile, for redundant presentation of essential information. Provide adequate contrast between essential information and its surroundings. Maximize legibility of essential information. Differentiate elements in ways that can be described. And provide compatibility with a variety of techniques or devices used by people with sensory limitations. Tolerance for error. The design minimizes hazards and the adverse consequences of accident or unintended actions. An example: guards and handrails on ramps provide tolerance for error when using a ramp. Guidelines: arrange elements to minimize hazards and errors. Most used elements, most accessible and hazardous elements, eliminated, isolated, or shielded. Provide warnings of hazards and errors. Provide fail-safe features. Discourage unconscious actions and tasks that require vigilance. Low physical effort. Sorry. Alright, okay. Okay, can you go out, please? Take Leo. I'm not finished. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. Can you take Cleo out, please? I'm not finished. Go, Cleo. Quick. Shut the door. Shut the door, please. Good girl. Sorry about that. Oh my goodness. Okay. Where was I up to? The design. Where are we up to? Physical effort. Low physical effort. There's a dog. Oh, sorry. The dog just came in. Hang on a minute. Sorry about that. My children have been up since 5:30 in the morning and they need to go to bed. Okay, low physical effort. The design can be used efficiently and comfortably with a minimum of fatigue. An example, installing a lever door handle means that it can be opened with the elbow or closed fist, benefiting people carrying shopping bags, as well as people with limited mobility within their hands. If you've got a round door handle and someone has arthritis or limited mobility, then a round door handle, you're not going to be able to do that. So a lever, you can just bang it, use your elbow. Makes sense, a lot easier. Okay. Guidelines for these are: allow the user to maintain a neutral body position. So you're not making it hard for someone in a wheelchair or with limited mobility to try and get and use that door handle or try and use something within your business. Make it easy for them to move their body. Use reasonable operating forces. Minimize repetitive actions because that can cause pain. Minimize sustained physical effort. So yeah, no big heavy doors that they have to try and hold open, especially if they have arthritis or something that is going to hurt them. Okay, size and space for approach and use. Appropriate size and space is provided. Appropriate size and space is provided for approach, reach, manipulation, and users regardless of the user's body size, posture, or mobility. Accessible parking spaces are designed with a shared area and placed closer to the building entrances to allow people with a mobility issue and devices to access easily. Guidelines for size and space provide a clear line of sight to important elements for seated and standing users. Make components reachable and comfortable for any seated or standing users. Accommodate various hand and grip sizes, and provide adequate space for the use of assistance devices or personal assistants. Okay, next we will be going over diverse marketing. Why diverse marketing? Diverse marketing ideas and diverse marketing pitfalls. Let me explain diverse marketing. First up, diverse marketing. 50 years ago, a company could be successful in marketing when using the WASPs, the White Anglo-Saxon Protestants, since they represented most of the consumer market. Eventually, some companies realized that the business potential of marketing worked with populations as well, and several efforts at multicultural marketing were attempted. But a company could still experience success without it. Today, however, the market is decidedly different. The Australian population has grown increasingly diverse, and if trends continue, today's minority groups will make up the majority of the population sometime around 2040. This general market strategy may already no longer be efficient in some contexts, requiring organisations to diversify their marketing strategies. Customers in different cultures have different values, experiences, expectations, and ways of interacting, even within the same culture. Such differences will be apparent between different subgroups, not just ethnically, but because of age, gender, profession, religion, family size, physical environment, and more. Diversity marketing involves acknowledging the marketing and advertising must offer an alternative way of communication to the other diverse groups. With that knowledge, diversity marketers aim to develop a mix of different communication methods in order to reach people in diverse groups in the market. Diverse marketing. We have essential, powerful, and connection. Essential. Essential marketing is the process of how a business, product, or service promotes its key features and benefits its customers, which ultimately generates sales for the business by satisfying its customers' needs. Powerful. On average, we're exposed to around 5,000 ads per day, range from TV to print, all the way down to branding and sponsorship. Advertising is everywhere and continues to be a powerful medium for persuasion and changing attitudes. Connection. By representing people with an impairment in their advertising, companies connect more strongly with customers with an impairment, as well as their families and friends. It also demonstrates support for human diversity in a broader sense. Diverse marketing. Now we're going to look at some little videos here. There are three main ways to diverse marketing methods. These are inclusive, thematic, and pride. Let's go over inclusive. This is the last three parts here. This method does not emphasize disability. Rather, it neutralizes it by incorporating people with a disability in images and messages. These people are just like any other customer enjoying your product and service who just so happens to have a disability. And here's a beautiful example of that. What a brilliant example of inclusive marketing. This method represents little risk for criticism, disability opportunism, has broader economic and social potential, and is more easily incorporated into sustained commitment. Marketing strategies often as an extension of existing diversity initiatives in marketing. Large businesses such as Kmart, Target, Mars Chocolate have made use of this method with results shown in the next session. Thematic marketing. In a nutshell, thematic advertising focuses on the disability itself, usually conveying an explicit message or comment about disability. Thematic advertising can be done well and may be helpful in showcasing products or services specific to disability. Here is an example. So, many companies are reluctant to consider thematic advertising about disability, fearing that they will get it wrong or say something or say the wrong thing and cause offence. But if it's done right, it can be done. Pride marketing. Most businesses have various disability-related policies and procedures in place. Things like accepting the companion card and offering additional help for people with disability or impairment to fill out forms and much more. These are amazing initiatives and would sway a potential customer with a disability to use your business. So have other options available so that they can come in and enjoy your business. The problem is no one knows about it. So if you've got that person there that is willing to help those people fill out their forms, willing to help them with other things within your business, let it be known. Like this picture here. By showing pride in your measures, celebrating any changes, and acknowledgements and shortcomings, you are demonstrating the awareness of the issues. This newspaper clipping is showing that they now have access to the beach. People in wheelchairs can now use this path to go to the beach. So they've advertised it. They've let it be known. Has an issue now come to mind that you might need to start advertising about on social media or other platforms to keep people up to date with your progress? Ask yourself. Okay, last one. Diverse marketing pitfalls, cross and tick. Ads involving people with impairment should always be created in consultation with people with an impairment. This will ensure that the messaging will be consistent with the intent. Use people with actual impairments and not actors pretending to have them. You may not be able to tell that it is an actor, but the target audience can, and this will do more harm than good. Don't use them as an inspiring contents, just use them as normal people using their business. Your business, should I say. Because that's all we are. Normal people using your business. We are all equal and deserve that equality. So that is it for tonight, and I can hear my kids going crazy out there, straight to bed. So now, if you have any questions, please jump onto the link below this video and let me know your thoughts and feelings, or if you have any questions, go into the live box and you can ask some questions. If you do have to go, thank you for joining me. I will be doing part 5 tomorrow, which is on the Southwest tourism overview and tourism market within the Southwest. So join me for that tomorrow, and then on Tuesday we look at Pacific needs of the market. So if you have any questions, head over to the question box on the 30 Foot Drop website. But if you do have to go, please follow this link below the video and fill out the survey form. That would be really great. Okay, I will see the people that have to go now, hopefully tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys soon about the questions. Okay, there doesn't appear to be any questions tonight, which is fine. I hope you all enjoyed tonight's webinar and it all made sense. Remember that if you do want to look into any more information, head over to the 30 Foot Drop website and you can look at more resources or look into more detail about what I've discussed. I hope that I will see you guys for tapping in tomorrow at 11 AM and 6 PM. Thanks for joining me. See you later.